Hello and welcome to Short Story Scene. I'm your host, the storyteller, and here we have a tale called The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Chapter 6, Weak Points and Strong. 1. Sun Tzu said, "Whoever is first in the field and awaits the coming of the enemy will be fresh for the fight. Whoever is second in the field and has to hasten the battle will arrive exhausted." 2. Therefore the clever combatant imposes his will on the enemy, but does not allow the enemy's will to be imposed on him. 3. By holding out advantages to him, he will cause the enemy to approach of his own accord, or by inflicting damage. He can make it impossible for the enemy to draw near. 14. If the enemy is taking his ease, he can harass him. It will supplied with food, he will starve him out. If quietly encamped, he can force him to move. 5. Appear at points which the enemy must hasten to defend. March swiftly in places where you are not expected. 6. An army may march great distances without distress, if it marches through a country where the enemy is not. 7. You can be sure succeeding in your attacks if you only attack places which you are undefended. You can ensure the safety of your defense if you only hold positions that cannot be attacked. 8. Hence the general is skillful in attack whose opponent does not know what to defend, and he is skillful in defense whose opponent does not know what to attack. 9. O divine art of subtlety and secrecy, though we learn to be invisible, through you inaudible, and hence we are hold the enemy's fate in our hands. 10. You may advance and be absolutely irresistible if you to make your enemy's weak points. You may retire and be safe from pursuit if your movements are more rapid than those of the enemy. 11. If you wish to fight and the enemy can be forced to an engagement, even though he is sheltered behind the high rampart in the deep ditch, all we need to do is attack some other place that he will be obligated to relieve. 12. We will do not wish to fight. We can prevent the enemy from endangering us, even though the lines of our encampment is merely traced out of the ground. All we need to do is throw something odd and uncalculable in his way. 13. By discovering the enemy's disposition and remaining invisible ourselves, we can keep our forces concentrated while the enemy's must be divided. 14. We can form a single united body while the enemy must split up into fractions. Hence there will be a whole pitted against separate parts of the whole, which means that we shall be many to the enemy's few. 15. If we are able thus to attack our inferior force with a superior one, our opponents will be at dire straits. 16. The spot where we intend to fight must not be made known, for then the enemy will have to prepare against the possible attack at several different points, and his forces being thus distributed in many directions, the numbers that we shall have the face of any given point will be proportionately few. 17. For should the enemy strengthen its van, he will weaken his rear. Should he strengthen his rear, he will weaken his van. Should he strengthen his left, he will weaken his right. Should he strengthen his right, he will weaken his left. If he sends reinforcements everywhere, he will everywhere be weak. 18. Numerical weakness knows from having the prepare against possible attacks. Numerical strength from compelling the other adversaries and makes them preparations against us. 19. Knowing the place at the time of the coming battle, we may concentrate from the greatest distances in order to fight. 20. But if neither time nor place be known, then the left wing will be impotent to the succor and the right equally impotent to the succor of the left. The van unable to relieve the rear, and the rear to support the van, how much more so that the furthest portion of the army, or anything under the 100th ill apart, and even the nearest is separated by several ill. 21. Though according to the estimate of the soldiers of you exceed our own number, they shall advantage them nothing in the matter of victory. I say that then the victory can be achieved. 22. Though the enemy be stronger in numbers, we may prevent him from fighting. Scheme so that they discover his plans and likelihood of their success. 23. Rouse him and learn the principle of his activity or inactivity. Force him to reveal himself so that you can find out his vulnerable spots. 24. Carefully compare the opposing war with your own, so that you know their strength and subordinate and then where it is deficient. 25. In making tactical dispositions, the hardest pitch you can attain is to conceal them. Conceal your dispositions, and you will be safe from the prying of the subtleties of spies, for the machinations of the wisest brains. 26. How victory may be produced for them out of the enemy's own tactics, that is what the multitude cannot comprehend. 27. All men can see the tactics whereby I conquer, but what none can see is the strategy out of which victory is evolved. 28. I do not repeat the tactics which have gained you one victory, but let your methods be regulated by the infinite variety of circumstances. 29. Military tacticians are like unto water. The water in the natural course runs away from the high places and hastens downward. 30. So in war the way is to avoid what is strong and to strike at what is weak. 31. Water shapes its course according to the nature of the ground over which it flows. The soldier works out the victory in relation to the foe whom he is facing. 32. Therefore, just the water retains no constant shape, so in the warfare there is no constant conditions. 33. He who can modify his tactics in relation to his opponent, and thereby succeed in winning, may be called the heaven-born captain. 34. The 5 elements, water, fire, wood, metal, earth, are not always equally predominant. The 4 seasons make way for each other in turn. There are short days and long, and the moon has its periods of waning and waxing. And that concludes our tale of The Art of War by Sun Tzu, Chapter 6. If you like this content and like to support it, please head on to Patreon. That is www.patreon.com/shortstoryscene. Thank you, Jack, for being a patron, and thank you all for listening. See you next episode. Bye.